This is J.P. Bang Music.
Soak it up, boy. You know. Soak it up, boy. You know.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Straight from the Horse's Mouth. I'm your host, Montell Allen. I'm excited. This is the first show we have on the podcast, and I'm just ecstatic about what's about to happen. We're going to talk a lot about recruiting, high school recruiting, and how it works in the college world, as well as how it's been viewed inside the high school realm, going into college, so kids are going to the next step. First and foremost, I got to give a thanks to a lot of people. First, my man James Hicks Media. Thank you for giving me this platform. Also got to give a shout out to my man Cultural Slides. They take care of us big time over here. You know, Xavier Carroll, please make sure you order your Cultural Slides if you want to. He does teams, college teams, high school teams, and individuals. A really, really great business partner of mine. Another shout out to Charles James Foundation, one of the most impactful foundations in Southern California, San Diego area, where he's helping kids get to the next level. I'm very happy to be a part of his board and work with Charles on a lot of good things. I also have to also give a thanks to my man Chris Smith, aka Top Dog, one of the most influential guys in high school sports over the last couple of years with his opinions on being on TV, and definitely one of the creators of graphic designs in our area that really helped promote kids. J.R. Tolver, got to send a shout out to him. State Farm Insurance. I have it for my son. If any of your kids play sports, please reach out to J.R. Tolver. He has a program that helps cover kids from all the way from Pop Warner all the way that goes to the collegiate level. I use it for my son that plays college football right now. Very affordable, and it's always great to have insurance. And last but not least, I have to give a shout out to my man Ruben Pena, partner in crime with SDNFL. We are leaders of the Kickoff Classic, #1, and then also beyond that, we have our All-Star game that does the platform. With that, that's all my shout outs. Let's give a really, really big warm welcome to a man that I much respect in the college world. He's a great friend of mine. Anybody think they have an impact on Southern California, San Diego sports? He's doubled that. I think he's one of the most honest, most genuine guys I've ever been around, especially when it comes to recruiting and the way the college things work. And I can't say enough good things about this guy. I think the world of him. I've seen him go from an assistant coach all the way to a head coach and change the platform. And now I think he's landed one of his dream jobs in the dream location he wants to be at. And I'm so proud of him. And I'm just thankful to be his friend. With that being said, can we bring Shay McClure onto the scene?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Montell. Very nice. I don't know if they're deserved or not, but I appreciate it.
I think they're more than deserved, man. Me and you've been working together, I don't know what, for the last 10, 15 years? Close?
I can't remember yesterday, but it's at least that, yes.
Yeah, so we've been
getting old.
I mean, Partners in Crimes when he was at Humboldt State, my alma mater, he coached there. And I don't think Shay gets enough accolades for what he's done. He took Humboldt State onto the national scene in the Division II playoffs. From there, he took the head coaching job at Dixie State, and he flipped the program. They won 3 games in like the last 4 years to be a power. I wouldn't say quite a powerhouse, but on the edge of being a powerhouse, to also being a very good, strong competitor in their league and winning more games than they had ever won in 3 years than they had won in the past 10 years. He had a stop at Southwest Minnesota, stop at Fort Lewis. And now, Shay, you go ahead and make the news where you're at right now and what you're doing right now.
Yeah, I accepted the linebacker job at Southern Utah University. New staff, exciting times. Again, we're work in progress, but yeah, no, to be back in Southern Utah after spending 5 years down at Dixie, now what is Utah Tech, still cracking me up. But now to be up at Cedar City and with this new staff and our new head coach, Coach Fitzgerald, really excited about what's going on here and to be a part of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, man, let's get to it. Just straight from the horse's mouth. This show is all about cutting out the middleman of information. This is where you get, if you want to go to the next level, where it's from high school to college to the next level, train, get recruited or whatnot, instead of hearing it from, outside voices or people that don't really know about the process, you're going to get that information here straight from the horse's mouth and be able to have the access to ask coaches and get a better understanding. With that being goes, Shay, let's talk about the current state of recruiting, really how it pertains to high school right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I know we'll talk about all facets of it, from high school to junior college to the portal, where things are going, what's going on in the recruiting world. I would say this holds true for us. Having talked to many of my colleagues around the country, from FBS down to Division II, Division III, NAIA, I think we're all of the same opinion that we would still all like to do nothing but recruit high school student athletes, develop them over the 4 or 5 year process, have them be a part of your program, and find the guys that really fit who you are. And I don't think that's changed. Like I said, I know there are a couple programs that I know of. I don't know the people there, so I haven't spoken to them, but just on the surface, you can tell that they're going a different route. But I think you would find, 75, 80% of college football coaches would still love to be in the high schools, recruiting those student athletes, building those relationships, and having that be the backbone of your program. And I don't think that has changed. And I'm going to call BS a little bit on when people tell me kids haven't changed, coaches have changed. There might be a little bit to that, but at the same time, and I was thinking about this before coming on here with you, back when I played, yes, a long time ago, played Division II college football myself. You never worried about who was going to be on my teammates. There was never talk about, hey, I'm leaving and going here, I'm leaving and going there. I mean, the guys that I played with, that I entered, college with, none of them left to try and obtain, in their opinion, bigger things or better things or things like that. I mean, you work through the process. I'm a guy. I think I'm a pretty good example of what I'm talking about. I went to college. I redshirted. My redshirt freshman year, I played all special teams, played a little bit of game action as a nickel guy, and then sophomore, junior, senior year, I played. And that was the process. I mean, there was some guys, my college roommate walked in, he started every single game of his college career on the offensive line. There were other guys that, went through the process. Really good friend of mine who's now a high school coach up in Paso Robles area. He didn't play a snap until his senior year, but never talked about the grass is greener or moving on and things like that. And that's where I do think that the game has changed. High school kids don't have the patience that they once had.
Yep.
Some of that, and again, I agree, some of that is our fault as coaches, in the fact that if you're not utilizing the transfer portal and or the JC route or whatever, you are falling behind a little bit, and it kind of forces your hand in that way. And I played in the early 90s, and, that wasn't the case, and as a football coach, I'm entering my 27th year as a college football coach. I have seen it change. And I'm going to tell you right now, it has been in a very short time period. I'd say in the last 5 years. When I was at Humboldt State, and I finished at Humboldt State in 2015, 14 season, 15 year, I think, or 15 season, one of those two. Anyways, we never talked about that. Didn't talk about it at all. Didn't worry about it. We had All-Americans. We had guys going to the NFL. We still have guys in the NFL off of those teams. We had a guy who was the runner-up for the Harlan Hill Award. I mean, we had guys. And never once did we talk about, hey, how are we going to keep this kid here? Are we worried about him transferring and hitting the portal and those types? And guess what? Those kids never thought about it either. We're the lumberjacks. This is who we are. We bring in new guys as guys leave, and it's a continuum. And now it's, hey, I didn't play enough. My coach is dogging me out. I did this, I did that. I'm going to enter the portal. And so that to me is where it's changed. Like I said, do I think most coaches still want to rely on the high school athlete and really build their culture and their programs on those things with high school athletes? 100%. I don't think that has changed, even though the portal's out there, the junior colleges have been out there forever. But I don't think our mindset as coaches, and again, I can't speak for everybody, but I do talk to a lot of guys, and I think everybody's of the same opinion. I would rather have a young man for 4 and 5 years than have to go into the transfer ranks.
I would agree with you. I think that's the ideology that you possess. But I would say, with the pressure of winning on a lot of coaches, now that portal and that JC transfer becomes more prevalent because the time to develop, and especially the higher the level you go in football, the time to develop has shrunk. Like you said before, we don't mind bringing the kid in. We're going to redshirt him. He's going to get that playing time his redshirt freshman year and then kind of continue on. Now with the pressure of winning in programs, it's like, hey, we need to win now. I need to get somebody that's ready now. Somebody that's played already at the 4-year level, somebody that's played at the JC level that was a stud. I need to get him in. And I see that attitude slowly but trickling going down. So it went from FBS to FCS. Now it's going down to Division II. Not maybe so Division III because we know that's a different animal. And maybe
Right.
possibly even the NAIA. But that attitude, not your stage of coaching, but younger coaches definitely feel that way. I think the win now attitude is there now, and I believe that window of development has shrunk, where you guys would bring guys in. So I don't know. Do you agree with that or no?
I do agree with that, and that's kind of what I was saying is it is our fault as well as coaches, and it's not just the kids, it's as coaches as well. And that is part of it with the win now culture that we have. And like you said, I mean, especially and yeah, Southern Utah, we're an FCS program. We play in the WAC. It's really good football, those type of things. And you're expected to win at some point. We're year one. We've got to change some things around here and do some things differently and those type of things. So we've got a little bit of time. But with the culture as it is right now, and again, I know some guys that, hey, we've got a 2-year window or they're going to fire us,
Mm-hmm.
and those guys are making really good money. They're getting paid
Mm-hmm.
a lot of money. So their expectations from an administrative and booster standpoint is, hey, we have to win now. And I
Yeah.
don't disagree with that one bit. And that's where, again, I do say that's as much coaches, administrators, boosters. Yeah, it's a trickle down, as you said, and it comes from the top, and it's all
Mm-hmm.
money driven,
Yeah.
and that's the thing. I also say, and this I laugh at this because I feel the same way, but why is a young man leaving a 4-year university now going to come to your university and be better than he was I mean, he's leaving for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah. We're gonna talk
and
about
whether he
that
was
a little bit. We hold that nugget. We're gonna talk about that more so. Trust me. I got some. I want to hold a
okay,
whole
yeah, no, I
conversation
got
about
no
that.
issue. Again, I just, you know, and again, the high school ranks, I think that it's becoming harder and harder. The scholarships, especially, the COVID and 6th-year seniors and those type of things. That class of 21, the class of 22 are still feeling those
Mm-hmm.
effects.
Yeah.
And, as kids choose to come back, I mean, I know we have 3 or 4 6th-year seniors this upcoming season. Well,
Mm-hmm.
that's going to inhibit the number of opportunities that are out there for these young men.
Yep.
So like I said, I mean, it's the last 3 years in COVID, portal, NCAA rules, all the stuff that's going on. I mean, it has truly changed the landscape of college football recruiting at its core. I mean, it really has.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. What can a player do to catch your eye? And I want to speak specifically to you, not because every coach has their different,
Sure.
different resume, what they want to look at for a player, but especially for high school kids. And I want to be specifically for kids in our region, in the Southern California region, in San Diego, and California as a whole. What can a
Right.
player do to catch your eye outside of grades? We know grades got to be the number one thing. They got to get past all that stuff. So let's say they're a qualifier at that point. What do they need to do to catch your eye as a recruiter?
The biggest thing, I mean, film shows, what I'm looking for, whether, and it's all position specific, but, can the kid drop his hips and change direction? And, is he a physical football player, and does he love the game? And I think that too much of that one point right there gets overlooked a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Does he love the game? Because I'm going to tell you right now, being a college football player or a college athlete in any sport is not easy.
Yep.
I mean, we're allowed to have you for 20 hours a week in season, but then you've got all the other stuff that goes into it. I mean, it is not easy. And our kids, as an example, last week was our first week back of summer workouts. Well, it's mandatory. Every
Mm-hmm.
single young man on our roster is here right now. And we do things a little differently here. We started a week later than most people because we're not taking the 4th of July week off, because we've got so many kids from out of the region that it was just like, hey, they're not going to go home anyway, so why do that? But my point being is they've got all these things that really inhibit them from it being easy. It's not, and this is not a knock on high school. It's not high school. You don't get time off. You don't get
Mm-hmm.
to go. You're not going to go run track. You're not going to go play baseball. You're not going to hang out with your buddies all summer long, even though you got passing league maybe a couple nights a week or whatever it might be. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's difficult. And so, again, I think the point that gets missed too much, and this is, and I know we'll get to it, but I think this is part of why so many young men fail to be successful at the collegiate level, and whether they're a 5-star or a no star is irrelevant. If you don't love this game, you're not going to be successful. And I don't just mean from a physical standpoint on the field. I mean, you're not going to make it,
Yep.
and I see that in so many young men. You watch the film, they love to be recruited. They love the process. They love this, they love that, but they don't love the game. And again, if you don't love the game, if you're not committed to the game, and like I said, this isn't just college football. I'm talking every single college sport. You're not going to make it. So what do I look for? That's a big one. Is that, can you figure that out in the recruiting process? Not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
You can't. There's some things, and then the other thing for me is there a want, and this is where I tell recruits all the time, it's a two-way street here. Okay. You really like us, but we really don't like you. And I don't mean that in like as,
Mm-hmm.
I'm
No,
just
I know
saying
what you. Yeah, yeah,
as
yeah.
you evaluate a student athlete, it goes the other way as well. We really like Johnny, but Johnny doesn't really like us, and so you're trying to find that marriage of the young man that we really want have come play for us, and he's got a high interest level as well. and
Mm-hmm.
and I think the other thing that is and this is going against what you asked me, what I look for. One thing I don't love or like or even will entertain is the guy that's chasing the higher level just because
Mm-hmm.
it's the higher level. That young man right there, I'm not going to say I always do this, but for the most part, I'm going to read into it. I'm going to let him tell me that once, and we're going to have a discussion and really try and get to the crux of it. But that's a major turnoff for me.
Yeah, and let me pause. I'm explaining it in layman's terms so these kids understand it. What he's saying is when he's talking to you and he's actively recruiting you, and you're consistently on social media posting, "Hey, my recruiting's still open. Hey, I can't. I want to go. I'm looking at everywhere else. I'm doing all these other things. Here's my coaches chime into me when this man or these coaches are already actively there recruiting you, and you're basically, it's like a slap in the face, in my opinion. And I heard other coaches say the same thing. I'm here recruiting. I'll offer this kid. And the next thing he knows, he posts on there. He posts my offer. And then 5 minutes later, he posts my recruiting. I'm still open. I'm still available. I'm still doing these things where it's almost like, hey, I'm just giving you offer. I'm giving you everything you've asking for and you're wanting, and you're slapping me in the face by saying, hey, somebody else, please come get me. And they're constantly posting the letter they got, or hey, thank you for the letter from ABC University. Really? Well, ABC University, that's a generic letter where there's not even no one signing it, so they're not really, you know what I mean? So really, that slap in the face, I think recruit you guys better understand. Coaches see that when you do those things. They really do. They see those things, and you guys need to stop doing that and really pay respect to the coaches that are actively recruiting you and giving them, I don't want to say their love, just giving them their proper respect. And that goes with phone calls as well. You know, coaches call you, leave your voicemails. I think you should be more respectful enough to give them that phone call back and talk to them. And also, I think at this day and age, it's time to become a man, right? If you don't like what they're saying or you're not feeling, then I think you should be man enough to say, "Hey, coach, thank you for recruiting me. I really do appreciate it. But you know what? I'm looking to go to a bigger level. Or right now, I'm just not interested in ABC University. I'm looking at some other schools. But you know what? If anything changes at this point, I'll give you a call and maybe we can revisit this. But right now, I'm really focused on something else." There's nothing wrong with saying, guys are used to saying hearing the word no, but you just got to say it respectfully and give those calls back instead of ghosting coaches, instead of not calling them back, instead of posting all these things on social media, instead of not returning those emails. That's being a child at that point. And at this point, you're 17 years old, going on 18. And some JC guys, you need to start becoming more of adults and being respectful and calling these guys back.
Well,
Talking about them,
yeah,
right?
and on that same note, I mean, if you don't like ABC school, okay, again, the one thing you said, and this is what I'm looking to go bigger. Okay, the thing that and this is for parents as well. I don't know if there's any
Yeah.
parents on, but do they want you? And that goes back to that two-way street,
Mm-hmm.
right now. And yes, we all do this. Coaching profession's a fraternity, and guys all over the place and at every level and those type of things. Those guys at the FBS level, are they still offering 2022s right now? Yeah. Are there a lot of those offers left out there for 2022s at the FBS level? No. I mean, I know
Nope.
my buddies that are true Power 5 schools right now are offering 25s.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
where they're
26 is
at.
actually. I see some
Yeah,
offers from 2026 now. So
doesn't
they've moved
surprise
on from
me. I know there's a
2022. Yeah.
lot of 25s going out right now. And, that's where I just look at it and go, okay, yes, you want to go to a higher level. I understand that. Okay. I don't have a problem with that. Okay. But do they want you? And if
Yep.
the answer is no, okay, hey, great. I mean, so and I'm not saying this if my wife's listening, but I mean, hey, I want to date J-Lo. Okay, great. Does J-Lo want to date me? Gosh, no. So, it doesn't work that way. I'm not saying I want to date J-Lo. I don't. But, the other thing that I think young kids really need to understand, and I always ask this question, and this came up more so when I was at the Division II level, is, well, I want to go D1. Okay. All right. I understand that. What does that mean? And I actually
Mm-hmm.
had this conversation with a mother and her son, I don't know, 6 months ago. And the kid, San Diego young man, and he kept saying, well, I want to go Division I. I want to go Division I. I want to go Division I. And mama got on the phone, and she's a great lady. And we were talking, and she goes, well, I know he really wants to go Division I. I said, okay, what does that mean? She
Mm-hmm.
goes, I don't know. And I asked the young man, I said, what does that mean? What does Division I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Really didn't know the answer. And so, again, that's where and I don't know if it's social media, I don't know if it's peer pressure at school, I don't know if it's your buddy, I don't know who's driving this, but what does that mean? And again, that's the part that I think young guys need to be schooled up on, is what is the true difference? I mean, like I said, I'm at an FCS school now. What's the difference between us and, an FBS school? What's the
Mm-hmm.
difference? And then even there, what's the difference between an FBS school and a Power 5 school? And yes, there are differences, but if you don't even know what they are, then why are you sitting here telling me that's what you want? What do you want? What do you look at? And it's a question that I ask every young man that I'm recruiting is what are you looking for? What's important to you? Okay. And let's make that list of here's the things that are important to me in choosing the schools that I really want to go check out. Okay. These schools have an interest in me. Let's say I've got 10 schools that are communicating with me and I go down my list of my priorities and I say, okay, well, 5 of these don't fit. Okay, well, then scratch them off their list. And like you said, tell the coach, hey, coach, you know what? I've got my list of my priorities of what I want, and your school, your football program, your whatever doesn't fit that. And again, I got no problem with that. And then go to those 5 schools and go, okay, this is what I am looking for, and does this feel right? And so again, I think it's too easy to just say I want to go Division I.
Well,
Okay.
I think you've hit something even better. I think the analogy of marriage. Do they want you, and do I want them?
Right.
And and 9 times out of 10, we know those kids that just said I want to go Division I. Half of that marriage doesn't want them because they would already be recruited. I think
Correct.
kids need to understand, and parents need to understand, if you're a Division I prospect, if you're that guy that's going to go Division I, we're talking, FBS level. Typically, they already know about you. You fit the attribute bill. They've already been in contact with you or your coach at some point, most likely towards somewhere in your junior year, and definitely coming towards the beginning of your senior year. I know there's some fall through the cracks. Don't get me wrong. We already know there's exceptions to the rule, but that's generally where the process kind of goes. Now it comes where schools like ABC University and other Division II schools and whatnot, they're stepping into the mix and saying, "Hey, we really want you. We really like you. We're investing our time in talking to you." And like you said, kids are saying, "No, I want to go Division I," but that marriage up there in Division I does not want you. And I think kids need to realize most of the time it's attributes. You don't fit the attribute driven. You're not the right size, right speed. I think I'm not sure if me and you had this conversation or I had a conversation with somebody else. But nowadays, the norm is we're not recruiting under 6'1" corners. If you're not 6'1" corner, I'm not recruiting you. Doesn't matter. I don't care how good you are. I don't care how impactful you are. You got to be a stud amongst studs for me to recruit somebody that's under 6'1" being the corner. With that being said, I see kids that are 5'9". I want to go Division I. The marriage is not there. That part is not interested in you. Not because of your athletic ability. You can be a great player. The fact of the matter, you're not fitting attribute wise what they want. Because I can find someone across this country that I'm going to invest this $80,000 in for a 4-year education that is 6'1" and 200 pounds instead of 5'9". And I think kids don't realize that. They think they're exception to the norm or to the process, and they're not. Is that a fair assessment in your opinion?
100%. And I'll add on to that is, and the conversation I was talking about that I had with the mother and her son, that was one of the other things that came up, and here's what I told them though, and this is the case for anywhere in the country, not just San Diego. Okay. But I was talking with San Diego kid is you live in a bubble. Okay.
Yep.
You live in your San Diego County, greater San Diego County bubble. All right. Maybe you know about Orange County kids, maybe you know about some IE kids, but for the most part, everybody in San Diego, even though it's a large city, high school football players, they all know each other, you know,
Mm-hmm.
whether it be on the 7-on-7 circuit, they played Pop Warner growing up against each other, whatever. Everybody knows everybody from North County down to the South Bay. I mean, they do.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, you've got to understand that I'm recruiting 50 states. Okay. We recruit now, and here at Southern Utah, we physically recruit the state of Texas. We
Mm-hmm.
physically recruit the state of Arizona. We physically recruit the state of Nevada. We physically recruit the state of Utah. We physically recruit the state of California. Okay. And then we all have connections.
Mm-hmm.
Our head coach is from the state of Virginia. Okay. we actually have 6 kids from the state of Virginia that are going to play for us this year.
Mm-hmm.
So you live in this microcosm of, hey, this, and this, I'm better than this guy, comparing yourself to somebody else who was a Division I football player out of the city of San Diego. I don't care. Okay.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. You got to understand our reach is across the country, and so I, it's hard. I understand that, but you got to understand. I mean, right now I have San Diego, and then I've got a portion of Utah as my recruiting area. And as you said, the other part that came up, this mother felt like this young man's high school coach hadn't helped him. Okay. And I hopefully she didn't want to listen to me very much, but I said, listen, ma'am, I said, I really don't care what his high school coach has to say other than who he is as a person, what's his character, what's his work ethic, those type of things. I don't need a high school coach to tell me how good a football player he is. I can watch the film and make my own judgment, as the high school coach has his opinion of the young man as well. Again, I want to know who he is as a person, what his work ethic is, how is he as a teammate. Those are the things that a high school coach is going to give me information that I don't know. Okay.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, there is not a kid in the city of San Diego in the class of 22 that I have not watched. Not one. Because we talk to every coach early on, before your junior year even starts. We know who you are. After your junior year, we watch your film and we make conclusions based upon that junior film. Some young men, and we've been doing this for the last 2 weeks now here, is we sit down every day as a defensive staff and watch film on possible recruits. And I mean, it's probably 2 hours a day that we spend doing that. And there are some guys that we will say, okay, hey, we like their junior film. We don't love their junior film. We're going to have to see senior film to make a decision. Okay. Some guys we watch the junior film and go, oh, heck yes, we're in. Some guys we watch the junior film and go, we're not in. He's not going to change that much as a senior that we need to come back and revisit the thing. So that's kind of how it works. And so, are there guys that make major strides between their junior senior year? Heck yes. Heck yeah. But, we also need to make decisions. I mean, this upcoming recruiting season, I think we're going to have 12 scholarships to offer. So again, I mean, you got 12 scholarships to offer. Not all of them are going to be full ride. At the FCS level, you are allowed to break them up. But a large proportion of them are. I would say we'll sign a class of high school kids somewhere between 15 and 18 because that's what we have. Well, now you're comparing yourself. Let's just say we're going to take one linebacker. Okay. And that may be true, may not be true. But let's just say we're going to take one linebacker. Okay. I'm going to offer our top 5 kids. If one of them takes it, we're done. And I'm talking about in the entire country. So, that's where I think young guys get caught up in this stuff and don't truly understand the big picture of, hey, but I'm really good in San Diego. Well, yeah, and Coach Mack loves me. Yeah. Okay, but guess what? I bring you in the room and there's a kid from Vegas, there's a kid from Salt Lake City, there's a kid from Phoenix, there's a kid from Dallas. And you're being compared to those guys, not just, hey, I'm the best linebacker in San Diego. Okay, great.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. So
Yeah, I mean, that's a jewel right there, definitely. I believe kids don't understand, like you said, their competition is national wide, not locally. And even in that respect, like you said, there's only one scholarship available. There's only one. And I gotta go, and I got a guy, you're a 6'2", 215 linebacker. Well, I got a guy out of Texas is 6'2", 225 that can move just like you, run just like you, and make just plays just like you.
right.
He may be the better fit. And I think kids, like you said, live in that bubble. And I don't think it's San Diego bubble. I think Oakland has the same bubble. I think San Jose has the same bubble. LA has the same. All these kids have that bubble, and what they think, and I think they run into the issue of comparing themselves to their peer on another team.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so and so got a Division I scholarship. I outplayed them last year. Okay, and he got a Division I. I should be getting a Division I scholarship as well. It doesn't work that way, and I think a lot of kids fall in that. I think a lot of parents fall into that trap, and I think a lot of young coaches fall into that trap as well. They say, "Oh, he was better than him last year, or he was better than him. He outplayed him last year. He should be, our guy should be Division I." That, guys, it's attribute driven, and what we project, what we can develop that kid at. I could develop a 6'2", 225 kid that's coming out of high school to probably be a 6'3", 250. It can move, all muscle. A guy that's 5'9", 190 pounds, hey, he's going to maybe develop to be 5'11", maybe 210. Sorry, the linebacker position, that doesn't work at the collegiate level, especially the higher you go. So,
that it's funny you say that, because we have a chart that we utilize at every position.
Exactly.
Okay? And
yep.
Does everybody that we recruit fall into that chart? No, there's exceptions to that. But what we look at in projecting here, and I'm just talking about us, so we have a chart. Will he get to this box by year 3? And that's what we look at. Okay, so by his redshirt sophomore season, do we project that he can be this tall and weigh this much? And and there's variance, but at minimum, can he get to this? Do we believe he can get to this? And that's part of it, and like you said, I mean, a 5'9" corner right now, and we're no different. The game has changed. I'm 5'8". Okay, I played DB. This was in the early 90s. That was fine. half the guys I played with were 5'9". Nowadays, that guy, even as talented as he is, he's not gonna be as high on the board if, everything being equal, the other kid's 6 foot. It's just, that's the way it is, and is it fair? I don't know. If I'm running a major corporation and I can take a guy that graduated from Stanford over a guy that graduated from Tijuana Tech, well, I'm going to take the guy from Stanford. I mean, that's how it is. That's the world we live in.
Yeah, I believe people forget there's a business part attached to college football, and managing personnel. It's like an HR. That's like an HR job, to be honest with you. It's an HR job in the corporate world. Yep. You have to manage your personnel, and you want to get the best 125 employees in that program to produce. And when you're in the high school realm, and the high school coaches and street recruiters and uncles and aunties and cousins and all this stuff, they don't take in consideration that business aspect. So kids pass up on other opportunities to grow. They pass up on all these other things to go Division II, go NAIA, go Division III, go FCS, because they're all chasing to saying, hey, I want to go work for the number one company, Tesla. Well, unfortunately, the number one company is in the process of sourcing the top 125. And the top 125 have to fit in these buckets. You have to have the qualifications, right? My job, you got to be able to do data analytics. You got to be able to do math. You got to be able to know how to code. Well, if you're missing one of those things, guess what? You don't get to the interview process. No longer do you get the job.
Right.
It's not based on what you personally feel. So I believe they got to understand there's a business process or business side to college football that coaches have to do, not just the front office, but what coaches have to do in making those decisions. Let's move on a little bit. Mega camps versus school camps. I know, and I'll give you my take first, and then you can comment. Mega camps also great thing to get a lot of kids out there, get some exposure, get in there and get the juices flowing and compete. But in my understanding of mega camps, it's really difficult for coaches when there's 50,000, when there's basically 2,500 kids at a mega camp. It's hard to get evaluated, to get looked at, unless you're that unicorn, right? You stand out. But that unicorn usually is already being looked at by the schools. Some of the schools have already been there. That's why they're coming there, to kind of get that last bit of eyeball test. So I think kids that are that 5'11", that average size kid that really wants to get in there and shine, mega camps really, to me, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's also not the best thing. I think going to school camps, Southern Utah camps, Fort Lewis camps, New Mexico camps are better because now you're going to the school where they're solely trying to evaluate you, or maybe like two or three other schools that they're looking at. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I would be in complete agreement with that. And again, the mega camps, I'm going to work one tomorrow, actually.
Mm-hmm.
They serve a purpose. Like you said, you get a lot of guys in one place. I think there's going to be 35 universities there tomorrow represented at this mega camp I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
But if you think you're going to go in and I'm going to use a fictitious school just so I don't get anybody in trouble, but
Mm-hmm.
some Power Five Canada Tech is going to come see you and offer you a scholarship. No,
Yep.
most and the thing you said, Montell, hits home. Most guys, if they're going to a mega camp and you know again, Canada Tech wants to see them, they're going to tell that kid, hey, listen, we're going to be at Camp A
Mm-hmm.
on this date, and we need to see you. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, we have our invite prospect camp on Thursday here on campus. And
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I've been on the phone trying to get a couple guys, a couple California guys, a couple Utah guys that I mean, we like them, but
Mm-hmm.
maybe they're an offensive player and our OC says, hey, Mac, I've got to see this kid. I don't know for sure. I've got to see this kid. Or, we like a guy on our side of the ball. But there's that, like you said, there's that one thing we don't know. Does he bend well enough?
Mm-hmm.
That's our one question. Does he bend well enough? And our D-line coach says, Mac, I've got to see this kid in person. I got to run him through some stuff. I got to see if he can do this because I can't tell.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the times that, you know, that's where I do think school camps are better than mega camps.
Mm-hmm.
I do understand cost. I do understand travel. I do understand, there's some things that can prohibit at times. But as you said, this is a business. And if you want the job, you're going to have to figure out a way to do it.
Yep.
And that's being as simplistic as it is, um, and again, I mean, a kid says, well, I'm going to go to the San Diego State camp. Are you going to be there? No.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I don't think I'm going to make it up to your camp. Okay. Can you get me any information? Can I see you somehow? I mean, and if the answer is no, and there's some not red flags, but if you can't see him, he might go down the list. I
Yeah.
mean, we
Exactly.
we
Yeah.
had two satellite camps. We had one 2 weeks ago, and we had one last week. And again, had some kids I invited there at the linebacker position. I wanted to see, and couple of them went way up on our board. Couple of them came off our board.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it was invaluable for me to be able to work with the young men and take them through drills and things that I need to see. And like I said, some guys rose up and helped their case. Some guys we now, and I told them, hey, we're not recruiting you, and
Mm-hmm.
so again, like you said, I do believe kids need to be honest with coaches. Coaches need to be honest with kids,
Yep.
and I think that goes both ways as well. And I take pride in that. And sometimes it gets me in trouble because I am going to tell a young man or his parents the truth,
Mm-hmm.
just because that's how I want to be spoken to. Now, am I going to sit here and say Southern Utah University is for every single kid that I'm recruiting? No. Okay. Is USC right for every single Power Five level kid? No.
No.
I mean, again, it just goes back, and you used the term earlier, and I like the term a lot, but fit. But that's
Mm-hmm.
where I think kids make mistakes in the recruiting process is they don't take fit into account. They just take into account who's giving me the most money in my NIL, who's got the coolest gear, who's got the sweetest, graphic for me for Twitter, and I
Mm-hmm.
mean, just stuff that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you have a good relationship with your coach, your position coach? What's the depth chart look like at that position?
Mm-hmm.
How many other, I just use linebackers because that's what I coach. How many other linebackers are you guys recruiting? How many have you offered? I mean, these are
Mm-hmm.
these are serious
Yep.
questions. And I'm going to tell you right now, if a coach is unwilling to tell you, scratch them off your board.
Yes, exactly.
Scratch them off your board because it ain't
Exactly.
going to work. But again, just ask the real question. Most 99% of coaches are going to lay it out for you. Hey, here's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, we're going to sign 2 linebackers this year. We've offered 7. We really like you, and we need to see you in person. Okay,
That's simple.
and now you know.
Yeah, yeah, but I also think, like you said before, or like I was talking before, kids need to ask those questions and even more. But you need to ask questions. You need to become an adult about this process
Mm-hmm.
instead of being that kid and running behind, your parents and your coaches to ask those questions for you. You need to ask that
Right.
questions to be able to put yourself in the right position to find the right fit. If you
Correct.
don't ask those questions, again, we're going to keep running to this cycle where kids are transferring, jumping ship, unhappy with the coaches and making all these situations up where they're not there. Or he promised me this and this wasn't that. Well, again, everyone, this is a business, and I think the sooner you understand this is a business and there's a way the business is ran, the better off you're going to be as a recruitee, and you're going to be more of an asset to recruiters. You'll be able to tell them exactly what you want. You're straight up forward. You kind of know where you stand and where you're going to fall into that bucket. To get understanding. I got one more
And
question
that's
before
where
we go
I
move on.
agree
Oh,
with
go
you.
ahead,
I
go ahead,
think
Chad.
that's part of the whole transfer problem is kids make decisions without truly knowing what they're getting
Mm,
into,
yep,
good and or bad,
yep.
and then all of a sudden it's like, well, this isn't what I want. I need to leave. Well, you should have figured that out before you decided to go there, man.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. One more quick question. I want this to be a one answer, one shot answer.
Okay.
707 versus track. Which is more important to you when it comes to recruiting?
Track.
Boom. All right, we're gonna move on. This is the next subject we're gonna talk about. Opinions on kids choosing JC Junior College, over the offers they get from Division II and NAIA in Division III. You know, we see this a lot. Kids will say, I'd rather go to JC because I'm going to be Division. I'm gonna make a Division One, or I'm going to find bigger. And there's some exceptions to the rules. There's some kids, they're Division II kind of players. They get to JC, they're going to Division One. I get that, but let's say I know for a fact 90% of that does not happen. You're a Division One player coming out of high school. Something kind of messed up, or you need to get the offer, or your grades, or some scenario. Then you go to JC, and you're still a Division One player, caliber type of player. That development by transformation from becoming a high school player to becoming a Division One player at JC, that doesn't happen like kids think it happens.
No.
So I want you to elaborate a little bit on that, and let's talk about the qualifications for transferring as a qualifier, as a non-qualifier to the next level, wherever you go.
Yeah. So again, back to your initial question, my opinion on guys turning down offers to go the junior college route, it's changed. And
Mhm.
my opinion of it has changed. And not because where I'm at, I'm saying for the kid before the portal, you probably had a better opportunity of actually obtaining a Division I scholarship, choosing to go the junior college route and seeing what happens. Okay. And I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, no, no, no. But that was the case 3 years ago. All right.
Mhm.
It ended. That has ended now. The opportunities for junior college athletes are really pretty much, I'm not going to say gone because they're not gone, but, and again, talking to all the people I talk to, the portal is where everybody is going to find their transfer player. Okay.
Mhm.
If they can't find it in the transfer portal, or they're having zero luck in the transfer portal, whatever, then they're going to the junior college route. But I will say this, I have not heard a single FBS coach say we're going to go look at the junior college level because we can't find what we want in the portal. No.
Okay, pause right there. I'm gonna run some statistics real quick because to what you're saying. This year alone, at the Division I level, because they don't monitor Division II, Division III, NAIA guys that go to the portal, but Division I level alone, this year alone, 1,720 kids entered the portal. Last year, that was left over that getting recruited was another 1,695 kids. It's estimated to balloon to 2,510 kids will be remaining in the portal August 1st that have no home. And this is recorded by 24/7 Sports. So this isn't me saying this. This is quoted out there. So 2,500 kids from just the Division I level will not have a home to play in. That means that the guys that are coming out of the portal, that goes in the portal, aren't coming out. They're not going to other schools. They're finding a selective few. With 636 guys were selected, they got to go to other schools. But there's 2,500 kids that are just stuck there right now. That are going to be stuck there from just the Division I level.
Oh, yeah.
This is not even Division II, NAIA, or any of those. This is just Division I. 2,500 kids from 2 years are stuck there with nowhere to play now.
And
because they made the decision.
What I've seen in the portal, and again, I don't have numbers or stats or anything else, but just generically saying what I've seen is if you're a Power 5 guy and you enter the portal and you actually played Power 5 football, somebody within the Power 5 ranks usually picks you up. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
After that, though, FBS kids end up at FCS. FCS kids end up at Division II. And so on and so on and so on. And that, as you said, that's if you get out of the portal. And at one of my stops 3-4 years ago, whatever it was, I think we had 7 young men enter the portal. None of them got picked up and are doing absolutely nothing right now as far as college football is concerned.
See,
and again, I had legitimate talks with these young men. They didn't want to hear what I had to say, but it's just like, hey, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to get picked up or not, but I doubt
it. And I think that right there speaks volumes, because a lot of kids, they get disgruntled in their first year program as redshirt freshmen, or their second year, or they're in a location they ideally didn't they committed to it, but now they changes their mind. Their answer, instead of figuring out and making what's good and what you made out of, their answer now is, let me just jump into the portal.
Correct.
Let me jump into the portal. And now when you jump in the portal, no one comes calling. Basically, your football career is over at that point. You might have the eligibility to go back down to JC, but let's be real. If you played 2 years at this school, even if you played 1 year at the university that you were currently at, you're going to go down to JC, and now your process of starting all over, transferable units and all that stuff starts to kick in. You got to be ready basically after one semester to get out of there.
Right.
Pretty much.
And as you said earlier too, I mean, yes, there are exceptions, and please nobody call me and tell me about some kid, I don't really care. But if you're a Division I athlete and you go and you're being recruited as a Division I athlete and you go junior college because of whatever circumstance, you're going to get recruited by the Division I's again. If you're a Division II athlete and you choose to go to the JC route, guess what? You're going to be recruited by Division IIs again, because that's who you are. And again, I don't want to hear about the exceptions to the rule. Yes, I understand that, okay? But percentage-wise, you are honestly wasting 2 years that you could have put into the program to that Division II, Division III, NAIA, whatever it might be. You've wasted that time, And again, as I said, we would prefer not to have to go to the junior college ranks. We would prefer to not have to. We would prefer to have a young man for 4 and 5 years and let him develop in our program.
Yeah, and this is no knock on JC guys. JC guys are here. This is not knock on you. I think you guys' programs are doing great, but I believe JC was meant there for a different type of opportunity, and kids think this is a jump skate to get to the Division I level, and I think those ones are the ones that are wrong. If you have to go to JC because of grade wise or some situation, that's completely different. Absolutely, go to junior college, play ball, get yourself out. But the ones, like you said, the ones who you are, you think this is going to be your oasis to jump to that higher level, and I promise you, 9 times out of 10, it's not. You're going to be the
Right.
same person you were that you were going in. Those same type of Division II schools that are recruiting you out of high school are going to be the same ones that are recruiting you out of junior college. Like you said, the caveat is you just lost 2 years of development in the program to go there that you got to reinstill yourself. And now, honestly, most of the time, JC guys that come in don't get plug and play right away unless you're in a very needed position. You have a year of development, so you're going to be there again, just learning the system, almost doing your redshirt year again if you didn't burn it. There at a Division II just to get your last couple of years in. So I, I don't know where that break is, but they're going to hear it on this show. When we do these podcasts, they're going to hear where that break is. And I
Yeah,
think
like
people need to
and
recalibrate their thought
some of
process.
my best friends are head coaches at California junior colleges. I have
Yeah.
zero issue with junior college, but just understand what you're doing when you choose to go that route.
Yep.
Hey, I didn't like my Division II offers because they were not places I wanted to be, and they were in parts of the country I didn't want to go to. So I'm going to go to junior college and see if I can get different Division II offers. Hey, I got zero issue with that.
Yeah.
None.
Mhm.
Okay. Hey, I'm going to go there, and I was recruited by, you know, D2s, FCS is sniffed around a little bit, but I'm going to go to junior college so that SC comes and gets me. Dude, no, no,
Exactly. Exactly. That's not going to happen.
no.
But that is a thought process to a lot of kids, and I
Oh, I
believe
know.
not all junior colleges, but some junior colleges feed off of that thought process to get these kids there. Instead of in my opinion, instead of I don't say do the right thing. I say educating these young men, saying, "Hey, I know you got these options. You're going to come here. This is the reality of what you do when you come here. When you come here, if you're a qualifier, you got to get out within the first year. If you think you're going to get in, otherwise you're stuck. You're going to be stuck here for 2 years. You got to get 60 transferable units and so on. If you're a non-qualifier, which some non-qualifiers do have opportunity to get in maybe something with special programs in D2 and NAIAs, if you come here, you better believe you're stuck until you have 60 transferable units. And
You
since
have to
you're a
have if you're a
non-qualifier,
non-qualifier, you got to get your AA.
yeah. Well, not even it has to be 60 transferable units on top of your AA because
Right.
you can get your AA without having enough transferable units. You have to have those 60 transferable units along with your AA to get out of there. Now, let's be honest with you kids yourselves. When you're in that situation and you're a non-qualifier, more than likely you're taking classes, remedial classes to get you up to the collegiate level. That means remedial math, remedial English. 9 times out of 10, I don't think kids understand it. They don't count. They only count towards your final trade. They don't count towards anything else. They don't count towards your transferable units. So that right there, you're already 6 units behind if you don't have to take 2 years of remedial math or 2 years of remedial English to get up to collegiate level, which a lot of kids have to. They have to take English 40, then English 50, then they get to English 100. English math 40, math 44, then they get to math 100 in order to become. So that's right there, 12 units, 1 semester worth of classes you have to take that don't count towards anything that you just wasted, and you'll be done with football in 2 years. And I don't want to hear about that the blue shirt year or that other gray shirt BS they give you when you go to school part time and they're going to bring you on. That means you're going to be spending another additional year at the JC level. So I know kids are spending up to 4 years at JC just to get their AA.
Yep.
Football is done for you. The boat's paid. You can only play 2. You're there for 4. If you don't play 2 years of football, the boat is sailed. It's gone. When you sit out 1 year at collegiate football, the boat is gone. It's sailed. It's not coming back to come pick you up. So I believe a lot of parents and a lot of young men, a lot of high school coaches and so on, are not educated to the process of what it takes to when you go to JC. That's where I have the problem with junior colleges, where they're not. I don't want to say honest, but they're not feeding these young people the information they need to know coming into the situation they're going into. And that's not a knock on any program. I think that's individual coaches. I think coaches, they have the best interest, but I think there's where the break that's the problem I have in the break in communication when it comes to kids and when they make those decisions.
Yeah, I would agree. There is a lack of education on what you have to do to be eligible to leave,
Yeah.
and that's the biggest one. I think, again, kids live in this falsehood of I talked to my buddy and he did this and he got out and or well, I was a qualifier, man, and I don't care. I mean, there's that part of it that, like you said, I don't think it's intentionally trying to lie to a young man. I don't think that at all. I don't think people are like that. I give them the benefit of the doubt, but I don't think there's enough education on, yeah, this is what it's going to take for you to get out of here.
Exactly. Yep, I agree. That's a great way of putting it. I think that's an excellent way of putting it. Let's talk about a little bit now the portal, man. We discussed on it. This portal thing, and I know kids jump in there, they want to go bigger, better, or they want to go to a different situation.
Right.
I believe, like I said, there's only 636 guys got picked up out of the portal. That goes, and that's a lot to me. That's a whole bunch of kids that are changing homes or changing scenery. Especially, I want to discuss like the Division II kids that are going into the portal. Now, out of the Division II kids that I know of, I know Jackson State picked up only 2, right? Deion's bragged about he picked up the kids from Miles College University. They went in the portal. He took those 2 Division II schools. Outside of that, I haven't heard of very many Division II kids being able to get bumped up to the FCS or FBS level. So when these kids decide to go into Division II, put their transfer portal in, from your opinion, I know you said it kind of before, but I want you to even emphatically insinuate what happens to those kids when they go in there.
Well, again, I mean, and I had a coach reach out to me yesterday, Friday, I don't know, Thursday, Friday, asking me about one of my former players at one of my former stops who had entered the portal. And I was honest with him on who the young man was and what I thought of his playing ability, what I thought of him as a person, all those type of things. But again, as with FBS Power Fives, and I talked about this earlier, the Power Fives go Power Fives. For most, and again, there are exceptions, for most Division II kids, you're either going to end up going to a different Division II or you're going to have to look at even less, And like you said, like I said, I mean, there are exceptions. I'll tell you right now, we have 2 Division II kids transferring in here, but there is a caveat. They played for our head coach at his institution. So there was a connection. He knows them. He knows what they're about. Yes, they can play here, those type of things. But if you think that someone is just going to reach out and go, hey, this is Coach so-and-so from this FBS school, and I saw you had a kid leave your Division II, no, I've never had that happen. It doesn't happen that way. And here's the other thing, and this, I hope kids are listening, and I hope all coaches are doing this, but you got to understand, and I tell every kid that has entered the portal leaving a program that I was at, that I said, okay, I'm giving you the lay of the land. Here's what I think. This is my opinion. You can take it for what it's worth. But just understand it, a coach is going to call me and ask me about you. Don't think that someone is going to recruit you before they call me or someone else that maybe they know on our staff, and they're going to ask about you. Guess what? That's my name. Okay. And I take my name very seriously. I'm going to tell them the truth. And as long as you're okay with that, you can let them know they can call me. But I'm not going to sit there and sugarcoat the thing and tell them things that aren't true because, and I had an NFL scout tell me this one time. I'm sitting here telling this NFL scout all about it, and they're putting millions of dollars into it, and all of a sudden he's a turd. Well, guess what? They're never going to listen to me again, when I actually do have a good kid or, those type of things. And so, again, they better understand that, in this day and age, as I said, this college coaching is a fraternity. If I don't know somebody on the staff, I know somebody who does know somebody on the staff. I mean, it's 9 directions, the Kevin Bacon deal. I mean, I can get a hold of somebody somewhere through channels and find out about a young man, so just be prepared that, hey, I'm going to enter the portal. Okay. If it's football related, you might really want to rethink it. If it's academic related, we had a young man leave our program. He was a nursing student. We didn't have nursing. So why he chose to go there, anyways, I don't know. But he said, Coach, I'm done with all this prereq stuff. I need to find a school that has nursing. Hey, guess what? Good. I'll help you. Okay.
Mhm.
What schools did you look at? Okay, yeah, I might know a couple guys. I'll call for you any day of the week. But if you're leaving because, well, I should have played as a true freshman, or hey, they're not playing me enough, or this or that, and again, I mean the stories and the misconceptions of kids are just mind-boggling at times. But
Mhm.
you know, be prepared. You're probably going to end up at the same level or less. You
Yep.
know, FCS schools like ourselves, if we're looking in the portal, yes, I am going to be looking at number one, somewhere I might know the kid through the recruiting process, those type of things. That happened once this year. I knew a young man, had a previous relationship. He was leaving an FBS. Yeah, that's what we're going to look at. We're not going to look at FCS to FCS because, again, why would I take somebody that couldn't play at an FCS and think all of a sudden he's going to become magical and can play at this FCS? I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't work like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And that's
Exactly.
what I laugh about in some of this. And again, I'm not going to mention any schools, but it's almost like you're going to go buy used tires and all of a sudden they're going to get more tread on them when you get them. I mean, no, you know,
Yeah.
they're going to be the same guy that is leaving XYZ school and going to ABC school. Why do you think that's going to be any different?
Absolutely.
That's the part of, and again, we're all at fault, coaches especially. I mean, I do it too. I'm not going to lie, but it's like, why do you think all of a sudden this kid's going to be your answer when he wasn't the answer at his previous institution? I mean, it's just like, what? Now,
Exactly.
if he's dropping down a level, I mean, hey, this kid was a backup special teams player, saw the field a little bit at a Pac-12 school, and we have an opportunity to get him, and he can come play in the WAC. Yeah, that's a different
Hmm.
deal.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
All right.
you got to
We're gonna
understand,
wrap this up, Shay.
As
But
a
we got one
D
more thing.
two
Oh,
kid, guess who's thinking that?
D2.
NAIAs.
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly.
I mean,
Exactly.
that's what they're doing. No FCS is going, God, I wonder if this guy can step up a level and really change us. No, they're not
Yeah.
saying that. I mean,
Yeah.
no,
Exactly. Yeah. I think you're right. You hit on that. It's either ladder to ladder or you're going down. You're going down.
yeah,
And most likely you're going down. It doesn't go lateral to lateral. It just doesn't make logical sense when you do those things. Now, again, everyone does exceptions to the rules, but that's
correct.
far and few in between when those things happen.
And
We're
again,
gonna
like
wrap
I
this up, Chip.
said,
But
I
I want.
mean, for me,
Oh,
if I've got a previous relationship with the kid and I know things about him, and yes, I know he can come here and
hmm
be different for us, then yeah, I mean, those are exceptions, but
hmm
the rule of thumb, no, that ain't happening.
Yeah, exactly. I want to now before we close. I want to talk about. I want you to explain the 4-4 transfer rule, especially since we segued out of the portal. When these kids want to transfer, go ahead and explain that rule and how it affects a lot of kids because I think a lot of kids do not understand it.
No, and trust me, I ran into this with a young man, and he didn't want to listen to me. I was recruiting him; he was in the portal,
Hmm.
and so what the NCAA says, you get one free. What it comes down to, free transfer. Okay, it's called the one-time transfer exception, and you can leave as long as you're academically eligible and all that stuff. You can transfer schools one time with no penalty whatsoever. Okay.
Hmm.
Once you decide if you're going to be a what we call a 4-4-4 transfer, so you go to a 4-year school, the next school you go to is a 4-year school, and then you want to leave there, you're sitting a year. You
Hmm.
are. Now, here's the part that a lot of kids don't know, and we just had this come up in our program the other day, and again, the NCAA is involved, but you better understand, even if you go to a 4-year institution and don't play football, it counts. Yes.
Wow. I didn't
So,
know that. I didn't know that count. I didn't know that
yes.
counted, but wow. Okay.
Yes. So you go to school A, okay, with plans of, let's just say, walking on, okay, and you go to the open walk-on tryout, you don't make it. Okay, great. So I'm going to leave this school and I'm going to go to another school and I'm going to go play. Okay, great. So you go to school B, another 4-year institution. You get there and you're on the team and maybe you don't like your situation, whatever it might be, whatever's going on. Again, there's too many ifs, ands, or buts. But then you go, okay, well, this isn't really what I was looking for. I'm going to put my name in the portal. You're sitting a year, period. You are sitting a year. And
Okay.
yet, are there extenuating circumstances that can allow you to not sit a year? Yeah, but that is up to the school you would be transferring to. Okay, and this is where people make the mistake as well. The school that you would be transferring to would have to put in an appeal to the NCAA, and there better be reasons, and I mean legitimate reasons, as to why the NCAA would allow you an exception to the one-time transfer rule. And
Okay.
no exceptions are not, somebody took my car stereo, so I'm leaving here. I mean, that's
Yeah.
not, I'm
Yeah.
talking
Yeah.
real stuff, Hey,
Something
they
can be
didn't have
proven,
it.
right? So stuff that can be documented and proven will have to be on that appeal process in order for it to go through.
There definitely has
Yeah.
to be documentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, man, I mean, everyone out there, if you haven't, I mean, you guys can chime in on YouTube and Twitter or YouTube and Facebook. I understand we get a lot of chime in today, but this will be rebroadcasted over and over again. Shay, I can't thank you enough, man, for coming straight from the horse's mouth. This is exactly what I want out of the show. I want people to get it raw from somebody that's in the industry, that knows the business, to be able to talk about it and give them a little bit of insight and tips on how to, one, make the recruiting process better, two, to understand wherever you're trying to go, understand what's going on in those situations so you can have a better knowledge of no. So you know what you're actually getting yourself to before you make it. So, brother, man, I appreciate you taking time on your Sunday. Out of your busy day, I see you got everything drawn up on the board behind you.
Oh yeah.
So, but I really do appreciate you taking the time, man. Congratulations on your new job. I'm looking for nothing but great things. I hope to catch a game soon, especially when you come out to California. And then we'll catch up, man. I really do appreciate you.
All right, man. You have a great day. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.